You are now listening to Out of the Blank.
And you're like, what the fuck is this? Smells like fuck. But you know what's funny is I couldn't stand the smell like when I was a kid, but now as an adult, I actually like the aroma of it, and I think it's because I grew up with it.
I used to be the type of guy that would never spend like $10 on a candle, but I don't know. There are some candles like where it says like a suede tuxedo. You're like, what the hell does that smell?
Is that like fucking James Bond? The candle should just have a picture of fucking James Bond on it.
But it's like a black candle, and I sniff it. I'm like, that smells exactly like a suede tuxedo. So now I'm just literally waiting for for me to get married or someone to get married, so I can just sniff the tuxedo and be like, I knew it all along.
I know exactly what that smells like.
Honestly, if you're wasting money on an incense, like there's something wrong with you. I don't think any of those candles that say relaxing or melody. I mean, that's what's supposed to be the type of flavoring to it, like mint.
Mint?
Like mint is supposed to be like refreshing.
Yeah, I don't like mint gum. Mm-mm.
I like bubble gum.
Man, you talk about bubble gum, man. I used to chew some shit out of some Wrigley's Big Chew back in the day, and some bubble yum. Do you even know what bubble yum is?
There's a bubble gum that has like, they look like Band-Aids, but they're like come in like three different flavors. You remember what I'm talking about?
Yes,
They had it like
exactly what you're talking about.
Big in the 2000s.
Wow.
Okay, so I got one of those, like, you know, there's like 42 of them, I think, in a pack. And one's grape, one's watermelon, and the other one's like green apple or something.
Yeah.
I got it for Easter, and no one told me when you're done with a stick of gum, you spit it out. So I kept eating. I was swallowing them.
No, that's terrible. Like for your intent.
My grandmom's like, "Where you ripped through that whole thing of gum? Like, where the rest of it is at?" I'm like, "We weren't supposed to swallow it," and she goes, "No, you're supposed to spit it out. You've never had gum before." I was like, "No, this tastes like fucking candy. How am I supposed to know?"
Well, thank God your first gum wasn't the Fruit Stripes, because that shit, man, lasts about like 1 minute, and like you're just like, oh, the flavor's gone. So you would have been swallowing that shit like a motherfucker.
That's the gum I was doing. It was like every 30 seconds. I was like, new piece. And I had like, okay, so they sell this really big gum at my local grocery store. And it's been like, that machine has been there for years. So no one buys it. The gum's probably just like, you don't want to touch it. But they're the size of fruit. So like they have, well, not like legit fruit. Like they have one that's like a strawberry. It's the legit size of a giant strawberry. Like, I mean, a thick, like a huge one. And they have like one that's apple flavored. It's the size of a golf ball. And they have one that's watermelon. They got grape and all this stuff. But they're so hard. I could take it, I could grab it and throw it on the concrete and it wouldn't break. So I would get these at the grocery store. Like this is recently. This isn't like a small immature Robbie. This is grown up immature Robbie. So I'm at the grocery store. My buddy's like, dude, you're going to break your teeth if you do that. I'm like, no, I'm not. And I like sit there and go, and you could hear the teeth like crack. And he's like, hold his mouth. I'm like, I'm good. And
speaking of breaking your teeth with like childhood candy, dude, I mean, I grew up with like Now-a-laters. Do you know what those motherfucker things are?
Yeah. Now-a-laters.
Yeah, those things are like fucking rock hard, like I guess
old
it's like
people.
taffy.
It's supposed to be for like a kid so you don't eat it all real fast. You sit there and enjoy it.
Yeah, but that's like the everlasting gobstopper, right? So you just suck it and suck it and suck it and it changes. But the thing is, it's so unsanitary, right? Because like it starts out red and like you put it in your mouth and then you fucking take it out of your mouth. You're like, oh, it's orange now. You put it back in your mouth, take it out of your mouth. Oh, it's like purple now, right? And it changes color.
It's filled with like Ebola and you're just kind of letting it
Well, no, look, you want to talk about like sanitary and germs and shit, man. That's like the problem with like today. And I'm even like a germ. Dude, I got fucking Germ-X and fucking shit all over my house. Growing up, we didn't have that shit. You just went outside, you got dirty, and you kept going. The germs are actually good for you. So,
yeah, it kills 99.9% of the bacteria. And I was like, that 0.1% must be a tough motherfucker.
and then back in the day, we would get 99.9% of the germs like on us.
Well, I actually got told at my gym there because I was taking a Clorox wipe after I was sweating, and I was going like this and getting my face with it, like trying to get the sweat off because I wasn't going to be able to shower when I got home, so I had to, try and figure out a way like, oh, I don't want to get like acne or something, do that. And my bodybuilding like manager, he was like, just to let you know, I hope you know that's actually killing a lot of the beneficial bacteria on your face as well. I'm like, what? He's like, you're basically giving your face like a blank look to it. So like you're gonna get everything bad. Now it's just gonna be like you're probably gonna get more acne. I was like, fuck, I've been doing this for days, man.
Oh fuck. Yeah, I don't know about using like Clorox wipes, but like what I do, like coming home from my second job, because dude, I can't do like a third shower because I just go straight to bed pretty much is I wash like in the bathroom sink, but I use like the hand bathroom soap and I wash my face, I put it like at the back of my neck and I rinse off and
Well,
then I take a shower in the morning. So
back to my gum story. So
your
what I was saying was, so one day,
Oh,
like,
hold on a second, right? Because we got to let the new Jamaican intro music like come in for the podcast, right? Bum, 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 da, da, da. Hey man, yeah, right? We're doing the new theme song, man. To Out of the Blank, man.
oh, you want to know what that's from, right?
What is that from?
That's actually me and my brother's band when I was in a band with them playing keys. We played on the radio and I found that. I was like, oh, I kind of want to change it up, and then I just put that in there. So that's my brother's own original song called Remedy that we used to.
Nice. So it's like Remedy, man, out of the blank, man.
No, it's like it goes like, because it's a little remedy, and then she said to me, and then it like keeps on going. I need to slow it down. Not even go. It was actually a pretty good, catchy song. Trying to play that on the piano was like fuck, because I just learned, and I'm that type of guy where you're like, you got to tell me what to play. So like you got a point, and I had to write the little fucking notes on the keyboard. So I'm like going into this radio show, and I have fucking notes lit up all over this keyboard.
You had like sheet music, like a CD, like the
I
notes,
grabbed
like,
individual Scotch tape and taped onto the motherfucking keys and all that, just so I could remember it. And he's like, all right. And like, I've just learned, like, I just know where to place my hands. And so I had them on like, place on the ass and then, but no.
That's cool because I'm a musician, man. So like, that's like blows my mind. Like,
So,
you usually got to memorize.
That was me fresh. Like I learned that song probably 2 days before. And I was like, I've never played piano in my life. Like, and so we're practicing over and over again. And he's like, now you got to use both hands. I'm like, I put one hand down and I have one hand and I'm sitting there looking at it like a librarian reading a book. Like I'm trying to analyze it and make sure I get in the right notes and trying to feel out for the music. The other one I was going to do was our Land Down Undercover. I'll actually send you those if you want to listen.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm always down to listen to new music. I don't know if we've talked about so much shit, but like for me musically, man, like I'm so stuck like in 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s music. Like I really don't venture too far out of there anymore. So like, man, when I can hear some new music, yeah, man, I'm all for it. So
I think it's like for my family, everybody's into music. My dad plays drums, sings a little bit in like a Kiss tribute band. And then
that's so cool.
My mom played in a band called Agent 99, which played like Heart covers and all these things. And she used to sing. And like my whole life before I was even born was all music. Like when my mom was pregnant on stage, I was the baby in there. And next thing you know, she's singing, and then when I was a little baby, they brought me on stage and just had me sitting there jamming out. And then my brother, stuck with it, found music, has a reggae band now, opened up for like Ballyhoo and all these other famous reggae bands and stuff. And then for me, I was just like, I tried for a little bit, but I'm the type of guy, like it doesn't come naturally. Like it slowly kind of develops. I own a melodica and stuff, but I rarely play that thing.
Yeah, you went into podcasting.
Well, it was like, wouldn't even call it in podcasting. I just call it like, I found a way to.
Well, like you said, man, you could have took the easy road, man. And like you said, went with your parents and done like some radio stuff, right?
Yeah, but it was like, that wasn't for me.
Yeah. Now, is that being like a DJ or?
I could do DJing easily if I wanted to even now, but that would be cool. But I'm really, really super into talking with people and doing the radio thing. Like I would actually be doing like how we're talking now, but on air and like a station.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you could if you had the platform and you had Right. I mean, I don't want to say like an easy way in, but like you kind of have like one foot in the door. And if you could do like kind of like the show you're doing, if you want to, I don't know if you want to call it a show, but like if it was in a bigger platform, it would be a show where you could do Robbie talk and have people call in and have real conversations with people. Right. Except it'd just be on a way bigger scale. Right.
I guess for me, like I never liked the foot in the door type thing. I never mentioned usually like my parents' name around town here, even though that could get me so many places. And people are like, "Wait, that's your parents?" I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Oh my god, I've known him for like." Yeah. I'm like, "Yeah, I know. Okay, you're gonna associate me every time you see me
With your
as my
parents.
yeah. No, thank
Yeah.
you. Like, how do you think Tom Hanks' son probably feels? Like, nobody knows that that's Tom Hanks' son until
Colin Hanks.
and then next thing you know, you're like, oh shit, you're completely different from your dad. You're like, yeah, I'm not stuck on an island with a fucking volleyball.
Well, but kudos to you, man, because you're like the hardcore, hey man, I'm gonna make my own path and I'm gonna do it on my own. Without any
dumbest
help.
route possible.
No, it's actually the route that earns you the most respect.
Instead of picking a horse for a transportation up the mountain, I picked a fucking slow ass donkey with one leg.
The one that keeps walking like
the one
wrong
everyone's
way.
like, are you sure you want to go with this? And I'm like, I'm pretty sure. That thing looks awesome. And like, it's got one leg and you have a 4,000-mile journey, sir. And I just have my headphones in and I'm playing the song because I could walk 500
miles and
all right.
500
YouTube
more
will take
and
us
to
down
be
for that.
the man.
YouTube will take us down for that, Mike. Stop singing it.
Na 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 na.
Well, hopefully this will just get on Spotify because YouTube will take that down in an instant. That's what I was trying to tell you. Stop, and you kept going.
You might have to hit the edit button.
No,
You might have to edit.
That's my one religious rule: is don't hit the edit button.
Actually, you know what? I think you have because like I think it's like what? Isn't it like 20 seconds, 15 seconds? I think it's something like that.
For what?
For like copyrighted singing music.
I have no clue. What's weird was I actually played I had a podcast with the Swell Fellows and they were like, you ever heard of European throat mouth singing? And I was like, what? And it's this woman in a video doing like just like screaming into the microphone with this weird face. And we played it for like a minute and a half. And then they actually went into our video, found that video, and then put it in our description. I was like, whoa, I didn't do that at all. They did it for me. I was like, thank you.
Yeah. It's so funny. You said that singing. It just reminds me of Tenacious D and like inward singing, right?
Here. Yeah. Jack Black.
So you know what inward singing is, right? So like when you're breathing, when you're taking breaths in, you're still singing. So the audience like gets full singing all the time.
Yeah. So you don't pause to breathe or anything.
Yeah.
I remember
every fucking day, you know, and every fucking day, you know, and every fucking day, you know, and every yeah, man.
I remember someone in my family was talking about like it's so hard to learn this song because I keep needing to breathe right here, but she keeps going and saying other things. And then someone gave her the best advice was like, you're doing a cover of the song, so you sing when you breathe when you need to breathe. You know, you don't try and focus on doing it when the artist did it. You know what I mean?
And I'll tell you what, man, like I said, playing music, and I've been in mostly original bands my entire life, but there was a couple years I did a 90s cover band, and where, man, I was like the lead singer, and yeah, man, and I play bass. So not only did I have to learn all these songs on bass, I had to sing a lot of them, and I did like vocal exercises, and dude, like vocal exercises and learning to breathe correctly. Yeah, dude, you have to learn that, and you have to learn like how to place your tongue and how to tighten your stomach and how to sing correctly so you don't mess your throat up.
I heard that. Actually, you need to learn to talk correctly too.
Same thing.
A lot of people don't even realize that. Like when they're talking, like my throat really hurts. It's like because you're not talking from. You're like forcing the voice out. You're not really doing anything. I actually heard that on a Joe Rogan podcast. I was like, that's true. And you can actually look it up. Like there's a certain way to do everything. And like, we've just been seeing what works and then just going with it.
Yeah. Cause you can strain your vocal cords talking. and singing. Obviously, faster singing if you're not singing correctly. So, like one of the vocal exercises, like when you're singing, you're supposed to, if you put your fingers up to your throat, you're supposed to feel like a vibration. And if you're not feeling that vibration, then you're not like singing correctly.
Dude,
Yeah, dude, it's so crazy because these vocal CDs that I use, I still have them. They're just called like, they're really cheesy and they're just called like vocal power. It's like vocal power, you'll be singing better. But it does like all the la, la 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 la. It's all, but the first disc is all about breathing, learning how to breathe, learning how to control your breathing. Before they even let you do any vocal exercises, they do all these exercises with your breathing and feeling your throat when you're doing this and doing that to make sure you're feeling the correct thing you should be feeling when you're singing. So I was about to say, almost anything you go into, like it's a lot deeper than what. Like I said, people's like, oh, singing, singing's not easy. Like if you really at the end of the day, like when I was doing the cover band and I actually put time into doing my vocal exercises, which I had to do every day. Remember, your throat's a muscle, right? It's just like exercising. You have to like start exercising, and then your throat is sore because it's not used to it, and then it hurts for like a week. But then like all of a sudden you wake up, it doesn't hurt no more. You can sing better. You can sing higher. And then like if you don't do it for a couple days, your voice, right? Because you're not exercising every day, you lose it. You start losing the stamina and everything.
I never forgot in 4th grade, I got to sing a solo act in this choir thing. And it was the scariest thing in my entire life. I thought I was going to shit my pants.
What was it? What was the song?
It was a song called Memories, and I still get shit from my family on it. Like every time my family
memories at the corner of my mind.
No, it was like a really like high pitch. It wasn't like a popular song. It was like something you learn in like school, like kids sing along, dent it, like that kids bop shit.
Oh, so it's like my Catholic school. So like I said, I grew up Catholic and I went to Catholic school, and we used to do mass like during school hours. And the principal had an acoustic guitar. And look, I shit you not, she literally played the 3 same chords to every fucking song that we played. So it'd be like, Amen, Amen, Hallelujah, Amen, Hallelujah, Hallelujah, Amen. And then it would just repeat like 10 more times.
I just remember I got screwed over in the class because I was sitting back there singing, like we had to sit down and sing. So like the teacher's up playing the piano. Name's Miss Circle. Shout out to her if she's still teaching or if she's dead. I don't know. But she was she was going and she was playing a song, and I think one of the songs I sung every song, and then it's like we've done like 30 songs, like we could have made a fucking vinyl record, and I was like, I'm done. I'm going to take a break on this one because my throat kind of hurts. So I like just didn't sing. I just sat there like, I'm not really into this one. I'm just going to relax because it's not my favorite. Fucking, she looks at me and goes, Robbie, you're not singing. See me after class. I'm like, what? So everybody left and I'm like, next class is gym class. You're fucking me over right now. Like, I was like, I mean, this is like 3rd, 4th grade. So I was like, all right, I'm in my mind, I'm thinking I'm going to stab you with a crayon, but the older me is a little bit more
I'm going to stab you with a crayon?
Dude, I love recess and I love gym. That's my one time I got to freak out and be myself without teachers yelling at me to stop sharpening the pencil a million times.
Oh, so you were that guy.
I have ADHD. I mean, my one teacher I podcast with was like, I knew you had ADHD. I just worked with you. And I was like, all right, cool. And so the teacher's like, sing the song. We're going to sing it now that you let everybody leave. And I'm like, okay. So like, she's like, once you sing it and you actually sing the full thing, we can go. So she's singing with me and she goes, you have a beautiful voice. And I was like, okay. And she was like, can you do me a favor? We're going to start doing some classes after school and stuff. I want to get this, I want to give you a solo act in our thing. And I'm just like, and they're like, okay. Like saying yes, kind of just to get out the door. And then I did. And I told my mom about it. And she goes, your whole family's musicians. What do you expect? Everybody here sings and also plays something else. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't make any sense. And so I remember I finally got on stage to do it. And like, I could still hit those notes today, but for me, it just was like something like I never even had to try it.
Prove it.
You're going to throw me right on the spot?
Hell yeah, you just said you can still hit those notes today, so motherfucker, prove it.
What do you want me to sing? Like,
What?
Like,
What's the fucking song? What's the song? Sing the song.
It's
Sing the song.
the song I barely can remember. It was like, it goes, memories, and then it's like higher up. Like I'd have to actually have to like do that. But I have what they call a false voice, which is when I can kind of impersonate a person's kind of vocal, like in the vocal range. Like everybody has a vocal range they can hit. And some of them, like some people can do, like Joe Rogan can do bear sounds and shit. I can do comedy impressions. Like I can do like people, like impressions of people, like Christopher Walken. I can do all those types of things.
All right, do it.
Are you? God damn. You just want me to pull a monkey out of a hat and tip for some change or something?
You're the motherfucker that's just like, I can fucking sing like a fucking
What, you want me to do Christopher Walken?
And I can fucking do impressions. Motherfucker, show me.
I was going to do
I want to hear some fucking impressions. It don't have to be Christopher Walken.
I was going to do Christopher Walken on your podcast.
You should have, dude, because my brother can do Christopher Walken, which is hilarious.
I think you have to get into the zone of Christopher Walken. So basically,
well, then do something else.
You have to picture like something like, hold on.
Don't let me down.
Use these words. You go around, don't know too much what to do. I don't know where I'm going with my talking right now. It's just kind of out there. Mr. Lando, Ferrando. I don't know what else to say. Like it's something like that. Like, but once I start doing it, like I actually have to get into it. And then once I start going, I'm like, I'll be narrating it my whole day, and my mom will be like, "Shut the fuck up."
So you're like
Christopher Walken.
So you're like the Heath Ledger, Joker, Jim Carrey, Andy Kaufman.
No,
like
once
you get into that zone, you just play that character like all the time.
Only Christopher Walken though. I could do another one, and the next thing you know, I can stop any minute. But like Christopher Walken, you have to like actually reach for that shit. And then when you do it, you get stuck as Christopher Walken. Like I ended up narrating my whole life story. I just wiped my ass with some dry toilet paper. Like it's like, oh shit, like I can't stop now. And then someone has to like physically slap you. This actually brought up a good point. So with singing and then Adam's apples, it always freaked me out when I was a kid and I'd see a dude with a long protruding Adam's apple.
Like, Chris Hardwick. I remember you talking about it on your podcast.
I was like, any motherfucker could just right in the throat and it's gone. Yeah, you have a big one too. That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, if you get that hit, that could pop in there.
Oh yeah. It's like what my dad used to tell me growing up, right? Michael, you ever get in a fight? Which I really never did.
Wear a fucking scarf.
Wear a scarf. He used to go, Michael, just one thrust up on the nose. And you're all good, Michael. I'm just like, what? It's like,
look, if you kill a kid, you have my permission.
Like I gotta say, like, Dad, are you telling me if I ever get in a fight, like, kill somebody? Like, good
if
Lord.
I ever have kids and I have to go into the school to actually sit down and they have to sit, I really don't know what it could be over. Probably ADHD or something. I know that's genetic, so I'm like, what was he? What did he do? He goes, he sharpened 32 pencils in a matter of 5 minutes, and it was very disruptive during our test.
Hold on. So let's go to this pencil sharpener because back when because obviously we have like a 20
I'm talking the mechanical one.
I'm talking about. Man, yeah. I would grind day, we had the winding one where you just like fucking had to wind it with your fucking arm.
Dude, when I was a kid and I was sharpening pencils with that mechanical one, if you put a speed bag in front of me, I was probably fast as shit. I was like Apollo Creed on that thing, dude. I could sit there.
Well, yeah, even the old school one. I mean, someone would get up and sharpen their pencil, and it's just like, and everybody's just like, you really didn't get up and sharpen your pencil? So you were the motherfucker. Right?
Yeah, but I'd be cranking it though. I wouldn't be freaking. I wouldn't be just throwing in the electrical one. I actually would leave the electrical one off to the side and use the hand crank one.
So you had the hand crank one.
Yeah, man, it was attached to the wall.
It was. They usually were attached.
I had to dump it every time I used it.
Yes, because that's right. The thing came off, and you dump Yeah, you dump all the pencil shavings.
I was
out.
always considerate of others because I'd probably sharpen my whole pencil, then have to empty it. So I was like, screw it, might as well do it. But every time I rolled up, the thing was full. I was like, who the fuck is taking a shit and not flushing the toilet?
It's like, I mean, I work from home a lot, but it's like, I'll tell you, the last time I went into the office, and this is like the VP of the company, he comes down to my area with the coffee pot in his hand and says, hey, whoever like closed up last night forgot to turn off the fucking coffee machine, and the fucking coffee pot was fucking burnt to a crisp. Lucky the fucking building didn't burn down. It's the same thing, right? People go to get a cup of coffee and all the fucking coffee's gone. Like no one takes the last cup and then makes more. Everybody's inconsiderate, man. I tell you, everybody's in a rush, right? Nobody's got the time
no one
to do
thinks
anything.
that far ahead usually either.
No, but you want, like I said, you want to, dude, like that's a perfect metaphor, man. It's just like you take and that's just being like courteous. Like you empty the coffee, the last drips of coffee in the coffee pot. Shouldn't it be people's nature just to be like, all right, let me throw a bag? Because, dude, you're right. You throw the fucking bag in there, you hit the switch, and it fucking makes coffee. It literally takes like a second. No, the motherfucker empties it, doesn't even turn the fucking burner off, right? And just fucking walks out of the break room.
Dude, if you had a therapist, your therapist is like, why the fuck are you telling me about coffee? Like, this fucked up my whole day. And I honestly can relate because my buddy Chris, you got to have a talk with him about coffee because he filled this fucking coffee mug right here all the way up to the very, very top to where you could see the liquid up here. Then he puts ice cubes in it. And I put this all on a podcast, Revenge of the Geeks. Look that one up. Dude, I swear to God, I was bitching at him about coffee for 5 minutes straight.
Okay. So you want to come to my pet peeve because I teased you.
What's your pet peeve?
This morning, right? So,
you're gonna talk shit. Okay, let's go.
So, hey, look, okay, this is just my pet peeve, and this really fucking annoys me. And of course, because I listen to, I pretty much listen to your podcast now, like every day when I'm at work, because you drop so many of them. So, I listen to them, and I'm listening, and then all of a sudden, here it comes.
I fucking knew it was going to be that one too.
Oh, wait. Not once. So in podcast land over here, I know you can't see me. It's the fucking vaping. Okay. Look, I got to deal with this shit at home. Okay. Cause my wife fucking vapes. No, she doesn't smoke anymore.
But that's not just me either. That's, the other guys usually too. Usually it's the other person a lot more of the time. Usually when I'm getting in a conversation, you can hear it when it's going off when I'm talking. So I hear it in my headphones as well. But I'm like, hey man, it's like, I can't stop. Like you can't, like, I get it just because I do it as well. But it's like, at the same time, I hear it a little bit in my podcast too. I've been listening to some episodes. I was like, I can hear it, but it doesn't offend me. Okay.
So with me, it is so fucking annoying that it drives me crazy, right? Because, dude, I listen to lots of podcasts. I mean, I'm listening to a fucking podcast. Yeah, you motherfucker, you son of a bitch, you fucking bitch. Like like seriously, like I'm sitting there and I'm getting invested in the conversations you're having, and I'm getting real interested in what I'm hearing, and then all of a sudden I hear. And I'm just like, what the fuck was that?
I can help you.
Oh, it drives me crazy.
You know how I can
You're going to help me.
So every time that happens, just think Darth Vader is also in the podcast.
Darth Vader goes.
He's the original vapor.
He's the original vapor. Look, that was helping him breathe to stay alive. That vaping shit. Here, listen, you want to go down a fucking.
No, don't even bring this shit up. No, I will not.
It's as bad as fucking smoking cigarettes. Like,
yeah, but people think like this whole stuff is going out about the news. I don't want to talk about this because it's so stupid and ridiculous. This is what I talk about in my podcast, and if you actually listen, you will know. The government is afraid of two things. What are those two things, Mike?
No, just go. Because I'm
people and religion.
Mm-hmm.
They split up people by diverging their attention. It happened with fucking PETA and the animal crackers. It happens on so much other shit. But they do this nonstop, and people are like, "Oh, it's a big thing." You know what's fucking big back in the day? Fucking hairspray. You know what people still use to this day? A can and a half of fucking hairspray.
I'm guilty. I use aerosol spray deodorant.
It's
right
called
guard.
fucking sticky lung. That gets in there too. It's all everything is killing us. The fact that we're alive is a fucking legit miracle. I'm not even saying that to get religious or get holy. We're literally giant bags of blood. Like you get a cut, a little bit of blood comes out. You get
I would
hit
say
a little bit.
water. You know, our body is mostly made up of water, right?
Okay, but what pours out onto the street if you
blood.
get hit by a car? Okay, blood. So that's what I kind of like. We're on a floating rock going through space. You know how much weird, like your brother Steve brought it up in the podcast. Like you picked that thing to think that's like the one problem in Star Wars. I was like, you pick that, your car broke down is the one problem you have in life. How about the fact we're all on a fucking rock holding all of us floating through space right now, and no one is questioning how all this shit is happening?
The Big Bang, right? Yeah,
Okay.
right. Evolution, right? Right. We're conceived from microorganisms started in water.
So
right?
many answers just to make our mind fucking unravel that shit. And
So-
it's the biggest question out there in the world.
So yeah, so if you believe in evolution and even Earth's like evolution, it's funny, man. Growing up, I took both of my kids we have a children's museum here in Indianapolis, and they have a planetarium where, most of the shows you see, you learn about the stars, the constellations. They did, and this is crazy. This is how, even my daughter remembers this stuff, and she watched this stuff when she was like 4, 5, 6 years old. And they did a thing about Earth and planet Earth and all the different phases of how Earth, like water Earth, fire Earth, right? And this thing in the planetarium explained how life started with microorganisms, because the Earth was just water. It was the whole planet was water. And then it showed how microorganisms expanded, and then went to land and expanded. Like it was very, very, like I said, and not everybody's going to believe in that, right? Especially if you're religious, because you don't believe, and that's how life started.
Well, a lot of people still think the Earth is like 5,000 years.
No, because, and like I said, when you're watching this, and this is a children's museum, and like it says the Earth is like 500 billion years ago, this is what the Earth was. And then 100 billion years ago, this is what the Earth was, right? It goes through all the evolution and stages of the Earth and how it's changed over the billions of years. And it makes sense, right? Because the Earth was water, then there's land.
There's a really good cartoon show that'll actually help that. There's a Futurama episode where they could only go forward in time, and they went too far forward to where there was nothing left. The whole planet was just a dried out rock. And then they ended up fast forwarding it even more and found that you can go back in time to the recreation of the Earth if you just kept fast forwarding. So they fast forwarded again. You get to see the whole planet come back and everything, all water, all that. You can see all the forms. And they tried to shoot Adolf Hitler out the window.
Yeah, but that's my point. Like the whole point is the Earth is always evolving, and it's always evolved, right? From the beginning, however it started. And that's why like people say, well, global warming and this and that. Like, listen, everybody, it's the Earth changes and always will change.
Well, Bill Nye talks about it. There's like a glacial period we had. There was all these periods that we had where the Earth was just fixing itself or regulating itself, or something had to happen. And I'm just like, the Earth ages. The only thing that does not age, I think, in this world is probably a McDonald's cheeseburger. That bitch does not mold.
That and cockroaches, man. Cockroaches live through anything.
They can get their head cut off and just still go. People become like cockroaches in a way. Fucking scouring all over the place. It's like, come on, get out of here. I'm just trying to eat my soup.
It's funny, man, because people say that about people, right? Like you got a small group of people that start in one area, then they multiply. It's like cockroaches, right? You see one, and then there's a million of them.
Well, usually it's the rabbit thing. They breed like rabbits, but
yeah,
they chalk up with cockroaches and people. They go like, you're like a cockroach. You can survive anything. It's like
Anything.
with like the people from like Eastern Europe, like they went through the roughest shit and they're still alive. Like nothing can kill them. You know what I mean? Like it's like that type of mentality. And that's what I think is pretty interesting. Like you can see that in different cultures and stuff, the different mentalities and different lives, like a majority of that population. Yeah, every individual life is different. But if you look at like a Latino heritage and a Latino culture and look at an American culture, the culture raises different types of mentalities. And it's so interesting to see that.
Oh, it's completely different. I mean, yeah, the Chinese culture, like, yeah, you're right. American, Latino, Chinese, like the culture and the background's like so different. So, and it's crazy, right? Because this is all we know. And if you never leave the United States, I know you can like look up and study other cultures and stuff, but if you don't like really go out there and experience, like for yourself, you really don't have any idea. It is fun though. And this is, this kind of goes like Star Wars, but Ewan McGregor. So Ewan McGregor, he plays Obi-Wan, but like he does a show where he rides his motorcycle through different countries. And you can firsthand, and he's got a camera crew that follows him, but you can firsthand see, right, how these countries like live and the area and like how people survive and stuff. And it's just really interesting because dude, we're like really, really fortunate and we're really spoiled and we're a bunch of brats. And because dude, like Americans, man, we got it made. Like when you see footage of other countries and stuff, like the poverty levels and stuff, like people have no right to bitch and moan and complain. Seriously.
I defend America and also say stuff about it, but like it lets me do at least what I can be doing right now. So I can't complain too much, but it definitely gives a little bit of more like when you're going to a toll booth, instead of waiting in the line, you got the fucking easy pass. So you just drive right through. Like I've defended America when it came to talking with people from Australia. I think we all get a really warped perception of everybody else's countries based on what the news kind of plays. But I also think that each country, each culture has its own ups and downs,
Yeah. I mean, look at Canada, right? And just the stem on that, like healthcare, right? Because they have free healthcare. We don't have free healthcare, right? And then there's like pros and cons to both sides of that because somebody in Canada, they, if they want to find out they have cancer, a cancer test, like they have to wait like 3 months just to get tested. You come to the United States, dude, you're going to get tested right away. And, then they'll bill you later and you'll have like 10,000.
I don't like the medical industry. I do not enjoy the medical industry.
I know. We talked about this last time we were talking.
Took that Medicare and Medicaid, whatever the hell medical insurance I have, and threw out the window. Said,
but
I don't need it.
I will say again, though, if you need a test and you need something done and you need to find out something.
I'm going to make it to 26, and that's all I need. I don't care about whatever happens afterwards.
Just 27, right? Hendrix, Kurt Cobain, like it's the 27 age where they die.
26 was when I was supposed to start porn, and that's it. You know that story, right?
What?
Oh, my doctor that tried to get me started into porn.
What?
Okay, it's a big thing. All right, so like a couple of years ago, I thought like because I was getting like I was using like protein powders and stuff like heavily, like so because I was like down to like 3% body fat, like bodybuilding status. I've told you about this.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't going to the bathroom, and I still have days like that where I will not go to the bathroom for like 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, that's not normal
because it's red meat. Like if I eat red meat, like I ate red meat like 4 days ago, haven't gone to the bathroom since. And it makes it uncomfortable. Like you feel like tired, you feel like kind of messed up, you feel off your game a little bit because you're just like bloated all the time. And so I was like, I haven't gone to the bathroom in like a week and a half. I need to get it checked out. So we went and got it checked out. They're like, it's something, and they kept going and doing all these testings and stuff. So we already know about Johns Hopkins. I did all those tests. Well, before all that happened, before I left my local area and went to Johns Hopkins and did all that, I had a doctor who was kind of like testing my blood and everything. He's like, all right, he goes, you me a favor, physical. I need to kind of see where the pressure in your stomach is, where all these types of things are. I'm a big don't put your hands on me type of guy. The Reiki energy healing, all that shit. You can take it, shove that floating rock up your ass. I'm sorry.
That's your mom's stuff. So I remember that.
Okay.
Right?
So that's like, just I'm not a big touchy guy. I don't really like hugging that much. I don't like any of that stuff. I'm more of like a fist bump, and I fist bump because my hands, I don't know if you tell, they're severely calloused because
Yeah. Why is that?
working out. There's only two ways.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
There's only two people that know what type of hands these are, and these are people that work out every day and people that work hard labor every day.
Why don't you wear the, the gloves?
Because I'm not a guy that fucking drives a Corvette with a fucking towel in front of his dick and also has a fucking driving gloves and shit. No, I'm not a.
What's wrong with that?
You look like an asshole.
Whatever. Like I wear gloves at my second job, not so my hands stay nice and soft and pretty.
Yeah,
Fucking
see, I get shit at this about work. Like I actually, we just had a new person come into work as a housekeeper, and
Yeah.
I went to go shake her hand. She shook my hand, then immediately pulled out lotion out of her bag. Goes, here you go. I'm like, what are you doing? What was that? And then everyone just goes, Robbie, do you know what your hands are? And I'm like, what? They're like, it's sandpaper. I'm like,
Yeah,
no,
thanks.
like, Robbie, have you ever listened to your hands when you rub them together? Because
Yeah.
I'll do it with like just standing there. Obviously, listen, ready?
Yeah, see, that's a dick thing to do, man.
That's why I just
Your hands
fist bump
don't
now.
soft.
If
Nah.
I fist bump everybody now. I don't do any of it. Nope.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing, the fist bump. See, I'm old school. I like the high five. Even back in the 90s, man, like with my core group of people, I was the one bringing back the high five.
Dude, if I high five you right now, you feel like your hand just slammed right up against some sandpaper.
Bam.
You get like,
Well, yeah, because mine are like nice and soft because I keep them that way. Yeah, dude,
do you moisturize?
do everybody a favor, huh?
Do you moisturize?
Dude, yeah, like I do oil of Olay lotion. Like, all right, here we go. You're gonna get a little inside info on Lando. Yeah, I do the body lotion. I put it on my face, my arms. I smell good. I smell
That's
good, man.
why there's a dick time with Lando. Oh my God. I get it now.
You got to remember, though, I do play like bass. I play guitar. So my fingers are like really, really important. Like if I jam my finger, like
That
I'll
makes
get
sense.
really pissed off because
It's like Zoolander where there was the hand model and he had his hand stuck
Oh,
in.
shit.
Wait, hold on. I got to circle back to the doctor story. though.
Okay.
So he's giving me a physical.
Yes.
And I'm already my gym addiction, because it's like being called like kind of fat in school. So it was like, all right, now I need to kind of like make sure my body never gets like that, which kind of developed like body dysmorphia a little bit.
Mhm.
So I was telling him, I was like, I don't like people touching me because I don't like my body in a way. So that's why I work out every day to kind of, always keep at it. And he goes, you don't have a bad body. I'm like, thank you. And I'm like, this is 2:00 or 3:00 in the morning. Like right as soon as the office is opened, I was there getting tested for like the blood and everything because I had to do a fast. So you're not eating for 12 hours or so. So I was fucking hungry. I was like, we're getting this done as soon as he gets there. I mean, I met him at his car and fucking was like, let's go. I've been here 2 hours. McDonald's is open right now. I'll go get a McMuffin. I'll tear somebody's arm off. So he goes, you don't have a bad body. I'm like, thank you. And I'm like kind of like hungry and also at the same time like like kind of crapped out, feeling kind of ill. And he's like, yeah. He goes, I used to be in the porn industry. I was like, what? He goes, just to let you know, if you ever wanted to get in there, they definitely need someone like you. Like I could hook you up. And I'm like, at this time, I'm like, it's like 3:00 in the morning, and he just said that to me. And I say it, and people are like, "There's no way." My buddy has all the messages, and I will be more than happy to send you the guy that was my doctor. I will, I proved it to you with the John Hopkins stuff.
You did.
I sent it to you. Now I have all the messages and everything. He literally was like, here's this site, this thing that I used to work with, this production company. You can get into porn. I told him straight up, I'm 18 years old, 19 years old. I said, when I turn 26, if I have nothing going for me, I will do porn.
It's creeping around the corner, man.
I'm 21. I only got 5 more years.
Dirk Diggler over there.
That's my deadline. I said, if 5 years I got nothing and I'm still in the same place, I'm just hopping right in. I'm diving in the deep end.
Shit.
We're shooting triple force Lando.
So I mean, you won't discriminate, right? You'll do the gay porn, right? Straight porn.
No, because I don't think I can get it up for that.
You'll have a fluffer.
We all have people that are like what they like, and sometimes you have to give it the quick slap to get it like pumped up or something. No, I'd have to stick to my bases. Like, I like what I like, and I feel like that's why there's new porn being created every single day, because it seems like the farther we get into today's world, there's nastier and nastier people out there.
Oh man, there's right. I mean, there's like everything. I mean, I go. I immediately, and it's funny. I think of Clerks too. I don't know if you've seen like the Kevin Smith movies, but you're right. There's the guy fucking the donkey in the movie. Right.
Yeah.
There's some freaky shit. I mean, people are like into bestiality. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, people are into that shit. I mean, to each their own. Right. Don't get me wrong.
It all comes from something deep inside, like their life, like kind of the environmental influences. Like someone who doesn't have a good relationship with like their mom would have like mommy issues, obviously, but would have like, they'd want like a big woman or something, only because of the concept of it's meant to be like a motherly type thing. The biggest features that, like a child nuzzles up to or whatever. And then like having like, abandonment issues from someone leaving. They want someone that's like constantly treating them bad because they want to feel like they're kind of abused, or they want to feel like they're hurt, you know what I mean? But they actually have that person still there. It all gets linked in. Like when I was learning about psychology, that was a big like thing. Like, hey, most psychiatrists have mental health issues. The biggest problem is they can't diagnose themselves. That's the one thing. They can see others, but they can't uncover the one in themselves. And I was like, damn.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's like you bring up a good point. Like, people tend to, yeah, you're right. It's like, I mean, what's the word I'm looking for? Like gravitate to like, yeah, like the environment. They're like really, like you said, like they kind of grow up in like this abusive, world, and it's not their fault. And then when they get older, that's like what they gravitate to. So when they get like the abusive like boyfriend and stuff, like that's kind of like what they know, and like in a sick and twisted way, that's where they feel like comfortable. Right? And you're like, it's like all like psychology stuff where
it's familiar. It's familiar.
Yeah, and that to me, man, that's like crazy. Like, right? Because like, if I was it's easy for me to say, but like, I mean, if I was in a relationship and like someone was kicking my ass, I mean, I'd be like, I'm fucking out of there.
Well, you were still infected. You were still affected by your environmental influences now, and you don't even realize it. If you have Star Wars music, any of that type of shit, you're super, super interested too. When you get older, it's probably because it was a thing in your life. That was something that was there around you 24, usually 7.
Yeah, so I mean, right. So I connected with Star Wars like when I was a child, but that really, and like I said, I talk about this all the time. It's like, and this is for anything, like even like all movies and all things across the board. Like when you're a child, you see everything at its like purest form, and you can't comprehend like everything like you're seeing. And then as you get older, you actually form different opinions about the same things that you've already seen. And so, and like I said, so for me to tie it into Star Wars, why, and I brought this up before, it's just like why I think I relate to Star Wars like so much, and it's just such a part of me, is like, like abandonment issues, like with, because you got Luke Skywalker and he doesn't know his parents, right? He's adopted basically with his aunt and uncle. And like I was told you, like middle child over here. So with me, it was like once I hit 10 years old, and my younger brother was born. It's kind of like I got abandoned by my parents, and they didn't. I had a decent upbringing and everything, and I always got taken care of. But just on like that mental level, like I was abandoned. Like
I understand that. Like, I mean, both my parents worked 2 jobs and were DJs and stuff.
Yeah.
And not that they didn't care, they didn't have the ability to, but a lot of like, it's very, very a short grasp mentality when you think of there's this like being there, and then there's not being there. There's physically being there, and then there's mentally being there. Mentally being there, I think, is really, really beneficial, because like even if you live in another state, like I don't live with my dad, but my dad still send me the occasional text. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So sorry, this might be a little bit long, but that's Lando over here.
Buckle in.
Story. Yeah. But okay. So So with me, man, like and sorry, I'm gonna get a little sappy here because this is real personal to me. So this is like, all I've ever, dude, and I'm gonna be 42 like next month, right? And all I've ever wanted, um, since I was like a kid, is just to feel accepted by my father, right? And I never felt like I got that acceptance from him. It's just like my younger brother was born, all the attention went there, and then unfortunately, my dad's favorite, and like I said, you don't want to have favorites and stuff, but my dad clearly made it obvious that my older brother was his favorite out of me and my older brother at the time. So all the focus, my dad's focus always went to my older brother, and then obviously my younger brother. So look, man, I mean, you're talking like teenager, I was basically, they didn't teach me or tell me nothing. I had to learn everything on my own when I was a teenager. Like I said, I'm surprised I like turned out the way I did, but I think like I was telling you, man, I kept myself busy. I was going to school. I was working. I had a girlfriend. I started playing music. I started writing music. I was just busy all the time, and I never got into drugs, and I never got into heavy drinking and this and that. But all I've ever wanted, man, like I said, from my dad was for, to feel accepted by him and loved, like fully loved. And, I can remember, one time, and like, dude, this has always stuck with me is he looked at me, and look, please, parents out there, you're listening, don't ever say this to your child. I don't care if they're 16, 17, 18 years old. He looked at me and he said, Michael, I wish you were never my son. You never say that to like one of your children, man, ever. So not only was that said to me, and granted, look, I played rock music. My parents didn't like it. So like I couldn't play my music in my house. Dude, my parents never came to any of my gigs. They never came to any of my basketball games. I was on the basketball team. The first time, it's crazy, dude. The first time my parents saw me play music for the first time was this year, 41 years old. They came out and saw the band I was in at 41 years old. They saw their son play live for the first time in their lives. And I had many, many, many shows when I was a teenager. And they never supported me, they hated the fact that I played music because it was like the devil's music, and they went through a religious phase. And that's the thing, right? So I graduated high school, and it wasn't like, hey, Michael, we're going to support you with whatever you want to do. No, it was like, Michael, you don't want to follow our rules. You want to play your music and you want to blah, 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 blah. You're out. So I graduated high school. They let me like save up money for 3 months. They helped me find my 1-bedroom apartment. So like I moved out like a week after I turned 19, and I never been back to my house since. And I vowed never to go back home. And the very first thing my dad told me when I moved out, Michael, you'll be back. You won't make it. What? Like, okay. So like that just gave me more power to be like,
that's usually what it does. See, the thing is, it bolsters you. The problem is you don't know if that's what was his intention. Okay. I had the same thing. I had one of my grandparents say, I told her I was going to college. Like, I'm the first person in my family going to college. The last person they would expect, fucking Robbie going to college. And they were like, it's not for you. You're not a college person. You're not, it's a waste of time. Do not do it. And I was like, what? And they're like, you're not going to make it. But also they know I have a huge problem with authority, and they know that's the drive force they get me to do it. And you know what? If that's what she meant, that's what she meant. But I didn't take it to heart. I took that as, I'm going to take 6 classes every semester and kill myself with classes just to be able to get my degree faster so I could prove you wrong quicker.
Yeah. So back. Yeah, exactly. So to me, like I moved out. Okay, look, dude, I was working at Meijer. I don't know if you have Meijers in Maryland where you are. They're like Targets.
The grocery store, yeah.
Yeah, they're like Targets or Walmarts, basically. So I was working at Meijer, making like $5 an hour. I learned really fast that a Meijer job couldn't cut it. So that's when I started working. I got my first warehouse job, and I was working warehouse job 7 to 3, and then I was going in the Meijer like at 5 o'clock and working until like 11 at night. Shit, like kind of like what I'm doing now. Isn't that crazy? I was doing that at 19 and I'm fucking doing it at 41. But I was out on my own. I was just like, I'm going to do anything and everything to live on my own, pay my own bills, do everything by myself to prove to like my parents, like I can do this. So, and I did it. Right. And I lived by myself. I worked 2 jobs. I never went back home, and I did everything on my own. And, and I never got that, Michael, you did a hell of it. Like I never got that through my entire life. And then unfortunately, I had a falling out with my parents and I didn't speak with my parents for like 6, 7 years. Okay. So in that time, I even lost contact with my younger brother because he was like living with my parents. But we reconnected a couple years ago. So like everybody in the family's talking now, which is awesome. And I actually sat down, I'm much, much older, right? I'm much older. And I sat down with my dad and I said, Dad, I said, I said, through all the stuff, we went through and this and that, I said, I want to tell you how I feel. And I said, I know I'm like, in my 30s, I said, but I said, I feel like you never had my back. You never supported anything I did. I was just completely ignored. And, all I ever wanted was your acceptance and your approval. Like, just to even say, Michael, you did a great job. Like, moving out of here and doing everything on your own. I was like, that's all I've ever wanted. And, and I said, you could never give it to me. It's always been older brother, older brother, older brother, or younger brother, younger brother. I was just like, I said, I just don't understand. And he looked at me, he said, he apologized to me and, I accepted his apology and, this and that, but like that scar and from that, it just never goes away.
Yeah, well,
So,
it's that's the problem with like emotional scarring. It's different. It's something that does not heal. It's a problem because you see that a lot more now, just because with people getting so overwhelmed and willing to snap and freak out just because they can't handle their own lives well, that you can cause scarring in so many different ways. Like someone betrays your trust, you can choose to trust them again, but how far until that scar gets a little bit too deep. There was a saying back in the day that we all totally gloss over, and it's the fact that words hurt, and they do. Sometimes you say
absolutely.
something that can mess somebody up for life. I experienced that being made fun of in school for being something, and then I turned it into something.
And that's the thing, right? My dad told me, he said, I had no idea. And he was just like, I wish I could have done things differently, but all I can do is apologize and wish we would have done things differently. And I look at him and be like, well, yeah. So I said, the only thing I can do is not do to my kids what you did to me. Right. So I guess it's a nice learning lesson for me, but hopefully it is a learning lesson for my dad too. Just, when I finally just poured all my emotions out on him, because that's the other thing, right? I mean, I think you talked about it. It's just like sometimes, man, like people don't know like what you're feeling. And then sometimes you got to sit down and you have to have that hard heart to heart talk with somebody that it may hurt their feelings.
Well, yeah,
Right.
my dad was the first person on his side of the family to actually incorporate hugging as a thing. My grandfather was known as, his name is Rocky. So yeah, Rocky Balboa. No.
It's
But
awesome.
he was actually like, he's a very big and intimidating guy. I don't know if I actually mentioned him ever on my podcast before, but he's my dad's dad, but they grew up in Baltimore. My grandfather was a bouncer, 6'5", 6'6", and he would basically scare the shit out of anybody because he's a big 200 like pound guy. And I remember I brought my one friend Matt, who made my original intro, and he's all like kind of shy kid, doesn't really talk much. Like my dad would be like, Matt, you want something for like breakfast? And Matt would just sit there, and then he would be like, Robbie, can you ask Matt if you want something for breakfast? I'm like, hey, you want something for breakfast? Yeah, he wants eggs. All right, cool. And then because he would talk to me, like I could always give him the talk. Even his family would be like, what the hell? Like, how do you get him to talk so much? I'm like, I don't know, just connect. And plus I'm not a hard guy to talk to. And you know what it is. No, no. We would
Dick
yeah,
time, Lando, Dick
but
time.
we would be sitting out at a seafood restaurant when they came down here, and I brought my buddy with us. So we're sitting there. My grandfather's 6'6" at the end of the table, like head of the table. The one seat at the end.
Oh yeah.
Big, giant hand the size of like a football. and he has boxing rings on his hands, like a bunch of them, like Super Bowl rings, like Tom Brady
Yeah.
or something. He had a bunch of those on his hands, and he's just sitting there like this, like kind of intimidating with this in the thinker position. And my buddy, I could see on his face, is scared shitless. He's not even answering me right now, and I'm just sitting there like, I know my grandfather, so I'm like, I'm gonna let this play out. So the waitress comes by, and he goes, crabs, I just like order crabs or whatever. And then they put down like a bushel of crabs in front of us. So he grabs a crab, and he's the type of guy that doesn't use the crackers. He just grabs the crab claw, like this giant one, and
Crushes in his hand.
no, cracks it in between two of his fingers.
Oh shit.
And then does it that way. And he's doing it that way. We're all using knives and shit. And he's
Yeah.
just freaking grabbing the crab and like open, and then grabbing the shells and cracking it like just by squeezing it. And I'm like, and then so he just goes, looks over at my buddy and goes, how you doing, man? What's going on? Like, nice to meet you. It's like, you're Robbie's friend. Where'd you? And he just starts going. And then you realize he has my personality and that big of a guy. And my dad's like, I never knew this guy. I was like, what do you mean? Like, when I was growing up, my dad would tell me stories about his dad throwing him through walls, would do a bunch of shit. Like when he would come, like my grandma, the one I found out was actually, lesbian, that I did not know about. And she listens to my podcast. Shout out to her. Thank you. I support you. But she would tell, she was 16 years old. She would tell him, like, if my dad did something wrong, she'd be like, you better go and hide, because he's going to kill you when he gets home. And it wasn't that he was a bad, that's just how he was raised. My great grandfather, the one whose car I drive, I knew him as a nice, quiet, soft spoken man, but everyone has their different interpretations. But that came with age, that came with something like, I never saw that side. And then my grandfather, I know him like, hey, Merry Christmas. And he brings like a Wii and all these accessories and like 20 games. So I'm like, holy shit, like, this is awesome. And I just look at my dad like, where the fuck was this? He was like, come on, dude. I'm like, what? Like, I got it. Like, this is $800 worth of shit here. And he goes, I thought you said you liked the card. I do, but you know what else I like? Because I'm 7 years old. I like shit. This a lot of shit. And it was always interesting because now, like, I'm older, and it's my whole values on everything have changed. And I think that's values with everybody when they become older. What's important to them becomes different. What they prioritize becomes different. I talk about this a lot. If you take two people, exactly the same person, but just put them in two different lifestyles and watch them grow up, they could choose what option they want to have. It's not taken away from them. Whether your dad leaves you, you can choose to be the same thing for your own kid, or you just run out, or you can choose to be a better father than your father that left you and rise above that. And when I started kind of looking at that and seeing that happen so much, when people say like, oh, my life shit, it was never given to me. It's like, okay, all of our lives are kind of messed up and have their own roadblocks in them, but you have the opportunity at any moment in your life to decide if you want to change that and become better.
Yeah, you're in control, right? Yeah, like you are in control of every decision, every thought, like you make. So, dude, if you have all the money in the world, if you have no money in the world, the decision you make determines on what the outcome is going to be. If it's going to be positive or if it's going to be negative. Okay, so if you do something negative, you're just some rich prick who did something negative. If you're poor, you're just some fucking poor prick who did something negative. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I agree, man. I hate all that snobby shit. Like, at the end of the day, take all the materialistic like out of the argument. At the end of the day, if you do something negative, you're just a fucking person who just does something negative.
Well,
right? It doesn't matter what, like, if you're rich or poor or this and that. You, like I said, like, I'm a true, like a solid believer over here. Like, yeah, I mean, you control your destiny, and like you control the path you're on, and you can change the, like, dude, like I said, no matter how many bad or wrong decisions you made, you're the only one that has the power to stop that behavior and start making the right decision. And people still might frown upon you for these 20 decisions you did wrong. But if you start over here slowly, it's going to build. And then people are going to be like, oh, look at all this stuff he's done. I know he did that stuff, but man, he's different. Like I said, people are like, oh, people can't change. Fucking bullshit. People can change. Like, it doesn't matter if you're 20, if you're 30, if you're 40, if you're 50. It doesn't matter. You can change at any age, at any point in your life, if you make the decision to change. That's why I hate that fucking you can't change. You've been like that for 20 years. Okay, but you can still change it. It's not easy, right? But don't tell me I can't change because I've always done it like this, right? Yeah, I can't stand that.
Well, that's how my podcast got started. My buddy that called me at 2:00 in the morning, he literally, like I said, teacher's pet. His parents made all his decisions for him, and he calls me at 21 years old going, I just realized my whole family and my parents have just ordered my life, everything, and no decision I've ever made in my life was in benefit to anything I wanted to do or anything. I felt like I was just controlled the whole time, and I still am controlled. And I'm like, okay, you can change at any time you want. And we got into a deep dive conversation, and he ended up like stepping off the roof. Like, thank you. I'm not going to actually, now he didn't jump, but he backed away. And I was like, I really appreciate that. And I was like, you need to learn that you have the keys to your own car to drive it. Everyone else is just GPS. They're just giving you advice.
Nobody else has the keys to your car. Like, no one else has the internal keys. Like I mean, I think we talked about before, like, you are the only person that I can help you. Like you said, you're talking about your teacher who you had the conversation with and helped you. She helped you, but you have to make the change.
I have to apply this stuff.
You have to open the doors. You have to make choices and
it's
decisions.
Like when your parents solved your math homework for you, then the teacher was like, here's the fucking work, and you're like, what? I have to show the work.
I have to
do it. You gotta do it. I can't. I know that's where I'll be bad as a parent. I'll be like, oh, it's math homework, and I'll just look at the answer key. It's 36. How do you know it's 36? I just know it's 36. But I have to show my work. Tell the teacher it's 36. Got a problem? She can email me.
Day, talk about being the parent over here and having your kids come to you to help dude. Like I couldn't help my kids at all. I'm terrible.
I'm gonna sit my kids down, and they're gonna write the dictionary like I did. They're gonna write a page a night of the one whole page dictionary and the definition, and then use it in a sentence.
You're gonna have to teach them cursive. I think I told you my daughter learned cursive, but
they stopped teaching me.
Yeah, when my son got to a certain, they stopped it. So like, I don't even think my son knows how to write in cursive. So dude, they don't even teach it now.
They pulled that shit out in first grade. They were like, all right, we're gonna learn this. Then halfway through the semester, like, all right, we don't have to do this anymore. I'm like, fuck, I'm at Z. How do you write the Z?
Yeah, so this generation, and it's not their fault, like, they don't know how to write in cursive. They were never taught. That's crazy.
My bank just lets me cash my checks with this shitty signature I have. They're like, does this say Chuck Norris? I'm like, I don't know what it says. Just take it and cash it, please. So like, oh, it's Robbie. Like every time they see the check, they're like, who the oh, it's Robbie. Okay.
Yeah, but it's crazy because I tell my son to sign a birthday card or this card or that card, and he's like 16 and he prints his name, and I'm just going, wow. But like, he never really learned cursive, and I'm just like, how can a bank or anything accept like a printed like
I print it because my great grandfather, when I got him a card for Christmas, he was like he had glasses on. I lift up the glasses and try and stare at it, and he's like, Robbie, what is this? And I'm like, it says love you from Robbie. And he's like, I'm 94 fucking years old. I went through the depression. And it starts listing off a bunch of shit. And I'm like, what? And then he's just like, this is the hardest thing I've ever had to go through my fucking life. I can't read this for shit. And I'm like, oh my God. He had some crazy stories though. I like living through life though. He used to do NASCAR before it was NASCAR. Like when I was on a dirt track, I was just like, I was in his garage and I was like, the fuck is this? And I'm like looking through. He's like, hey, those are my old trophies. Don't touch them. I'm like, old trophies to what? And he goes, oh, I used to do NASCAR before it was NASCAR. I was like, what do you mean? I'm looking at them. They're all like dirt drifting track, like with trophies and shit, first place. I'm like, what? And my dad just goes, oh, yeah, your great grandfather he was a very good, like rally, what something had an exclusive name to it, but he's like, he used to drive on the dirt tracks. It was basically NASCAR before it was NASCAR. And they walk away. I'm like, the fuck, we not talking about this?
That's pretty cool.
And he's like, it's just
Yeah.
old shit, dude. Just like go away. Like it doesn't matter. We've heard it a million times. You've heard it a million times.
I haven't heard. Yeah. And that's the best thing, dude, about like stories that like get like, you know, like this family stories, like, yeah, like they're told a million times, but like, yeah, man, like, hey, I haven't heard it. And like, yeah, right. Oh, I don't want to hear it again. I want to hear it. And then you can pass it, and like and your grandfather, like his like memory lives forever with the stories being passed on from generation to generation to generation. So in a way, he lives like forever. It's cool.
He's my great grandfather. So
Great grandfather.
A lot of fucking stories. I'm pretty.
That's awesome.
Nobody's ever heard. But my grandfather tells me the same shit all the time. Like the one that hides candy and everything. He'll say the same story. I'm like, now at this age, I'm just like, yeah. And I'm like, he's like, you've heard it before. And I'm like, tell me again. Just tell me again. Let me hear it again. I want to hear it from you. And
it's funny, man, because I even have stories, right, that I tell, you know, the kids and stuff, and I repeat myself. But I have this one story. I guess I can humor you for a second. So like, right, I can already hear my family just going, ugh, but my daughter going, tell it again, Dad, tell it again, because she'll probably tell this story to her kids. So I was a senior in high school. I took marketing. And we had to film a Tombstone pizza commercial. Do you guys have frozen Tombstone pizzas in Maryland?
Everybody. Okay. Yeah, those things are.
I didn't have them in Massachusetts.
They're indestructible.
So when I lived in Mass, we didn't have Tombstones. Anyways, so we had to film a commercial, Tombstone Pizza. And you know, we group up. I'm with my partner, Bill. I remember his name. And so Lando's idea. Oh boy, Tombstone. Real tombstones. Let's go to a cemetery. So we go to a cemetery, and my ideal was he's going to be standing in a cemetery, and he's going to be like, man, I really want a tombstone. And then we filmed it. I jumped out from behind a tombstone and said, not that tombstone, this tombstone pizza. And like, so
I would have bought that fucking pizza.
Thank you.
That's a good one. Yeah.
So the cemetery we filmed it at, every time I drive by it, I always tell that story, right? When I'm in the car, and everybody groans because I've told it like a million times. And yeah, so like we turned the funny story to that is like we turned it in and we had to show it. Like everybody showed their commercials like in front of the whole class, and people like watched it. Were just like, what the fuck was that? Because we were the only people that went to a cemetery and filmed a Tombstone pizza commercial. I thought it was creative. So.
I took a communication arts class in my senior year, and we had to go out and get videos and shit. Mostly kids would be like going to Chick-fil-A, and they would just drive and be gone the whole class. But then the teacher would be like, just bring back like a spicy chicken or something. And so we would go out and film. And I have some badass videos on my own Instagram where I was like, I put them up there because it was pretty fun. We did a Step Brothers remake. We did a Hot Rod remake. You know, Hot Rod.
Oh yeah, with Andy Samberg.
Yeah, so we did that. We did the part where they were talking about like I party. No, Kevin, I know for a fact you don't fucking party. Like we did that whole scene. So it was like a bunch of my friends and like my buddies wearing a wolf shirt. We're just like going like doing like stupid awkward stuff. But it was so funny and freeing because it was like a good way to like just create a funny video where the class would be sitting there like, what did we just watch?
Well, I mean, you know, the movie I want to see with you starring in, a nice independent movie that you should probably make, right? Spider-Man.
Fucking A.
You know why, right?
No, I don't. Why don't you enlighten people?
Because you look just like the new Spider-Man, Tom Holland.
Oh, I do not. He is the savage, man. I just watched Avengers Endgame like yesterday before work. And then I told someone at my work that like, how the hell did you watch Avengers Endgame before work? I was like, I got up at 2:00 in the morning, had breakfast, and then I was bored, so I just watched Avengers Endgame.
4 hours. It's like watching Lord of the Rings.
I watched it all. It was really, really interesting.
It was really good, dude. I went to the theater, dude. I was crying like a baby.
I wouldn't have been able to make it through the theater.
Yeah, it was real emotional.
No, I mean, I would have to piss like 5 minutes in. I'd be like, oh, shit. Excuse me, everybody. I gotta go to the bathroom. Gotta go to the bathroom. Move your leg. I gotta go to the bathroom. Come on, man. Stand up, asshole.
I would hate you. I would hate you in a movie theater. Then
I would sit on the end seat so I wouldn't get up in the
okay.
body. That's what I do
Just
when I
don't
get a
open.
plane.
Yeah, just don't open your phone. I don't want your commentary. Okay. Yeah, please.
I tell people when I get on an airplane, like, can I have the aisle? And they're like, but I need to stretch my legs out. And I'm like, I'm probably going to shit maybe 2 or 3 times on this flight. So I remember I did a 12-hour flight to Hawaii. Dude, you want to talk about, I had the middle seat. So my grandma was on one end because she needs her legs stretched out in case it swells. And my cousin, like my age, is like right to my left. He's passed out, freaking head conked into the window. And I'm sitting there like, you have to get up, grandma. She's like, I just got up 20 minutes ago for you. And he's like, yeah, I got to get up. She's like, why? I'm like, I need to. She's like, you have ADHD? Not right now, you don't. I'm like, what? And I'm like sitting there like playing on. Then I just like click on the Nintendo DS and play that in there. I pause it, like, look, you got to get up. She goes, why? I'm like, I need to walk around or do something because all they were playing on the damn projection screen is shitty movies you don't want to watch.
At least you had that, my friend.
They played 6 hours of Shark Tank. Fuck that. I would rather watch nothing at that.
I love that show.
It's fun for the first hour, but then after a while, you're like, people are idiotic with their inventions.
Yeah, but listen. Now you talk about flying Hawaii. I actually, my family, my uncle was in the military, and we visited him in Hawaii when I was a kid. So, dude, we flew from Massachusetts to Hawaii, and that was like a 17 hour straight flight we took to Hawaii. Dude, so back in the day, in the 80s, there wasn't any fucking movies on the plane, okay? So I was literally in a plane for like 16 hours, right, with nothing. Right? Maybe just a Walkman or something.
My brother slept that whole flight, head against the window.
Yeah, it's all you can do.
Went right through it the whole way. I was up every minute. I witnessed when the plane fucking got through massive turbulence, the lights went out and they flicked back on. They went out again for even longer and they flicked back on. I'm sitting there clenched into the seat like, holy shit. And then I look over at him and like everything is fine now. It's probably been a good 20 minutes since all this passed. He just gets up and goes, are we there yet? I'm like,
he was like sleeping.
Did you not? Fuck, everyone on the plane is scared shitless right now. Everybody has turned to God already, and you're just waking up. He's like, are we there? And I'm like, no, we're not there. He goes, all right, cool. And then puts his beanie back down in front of his eyes. I'm like, what the hell? I hate when they come by and they go, I like it when they offer you a drink, but then like, what would you like to eat? And I'm like, can I get the fish? There's no fish. Can I get the chicken? We're out of chicken too. I'm like, what's left? They're like, we got some peanuts. I'm like, fuck.
Hey, airplane peanuts were awesome, man.
Yeah,
at least they were in the
when you're on going for a 16-hour flight, you can only eat so much.
No, I know, man. And I'd always want to get I guess I think we flew like Delta or something back in the 80s, and I always wanted, they hand out those little Delta airplanes to the kids. All right. That's all we had. I mean, I remember back when I was flying on airplanes in the 80s when we took family vacations, like you could smoke on planes and shit.
That's what the little thing in the armchair was for. It was an
Yeah. Like I said, now you can't shit. I mean, you can't do nothing.
I don't want to fly on planes anymore because I figured out they have oxygen tanks in the back. And I remember I sat under one of them one time and I was like, if this thing fucking just explodes.
Oh, you're done.
We're in a giant – you want to talk about things to question in the world. We're in a giant metal contraption flying through the air right now.
It's a death machine.
And how come the bitch knows I'm 14 years old, we're flying to Vegas, and she goes, you're sitting in the door seat. Are you willing to help out in an emergency if something happens? I'm like, why would you put that in my fucking head? Why would you put that in my head? Well, we need to know. You got the door seat. If you feel like you need to switch, can you switch? I turn around. Who the fuck's switching? Who's switching with me? Who wants to switch? Everyone's already like, I'm just trying to get through the flight, bro. We're hoping it doesn't crash down either. She just stops me and goes, look.
Yeah, see.
Well, she stops me. Hold on. She stops me and goes, look, it's not actually going to happen. I just have to say that to make sure that you're aware that if it does happen. I'm like, yeah, and now I'm fully fucking aware, okay? I've seen snakes on a plane. I've seen all this shit. I'm not willing to help out in a situation. I can tell you right now, I'm tripping every motherfucker before if they're trying to chase me out the door. I'm going first.
Well, the first thing I would think of, since I've seen too many movies, is if the door fucking flies off, you're gonna get sucked out of the fucking door because you're right next to the fucking door. The whole seat,
I'm
right, the
saying.
whole seat fucking goes.
Any hole that happens in the airplane in the air, you get sucked out that thing, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be like fucking skydiving, but no parachute.
The only good part, and I've said this with my podcast with Nick Carter, I was like, look, man, the toilets, they will suck your ass through that thing and bring you into a new world. I'm telling you, man, those are the one toilets. Like, that's the only reason I would ride an airplane. Like, if I worked at an airport, I would just go onto the airplane, take a shit, and then hop right off. And they're like, you're not on this flight? No. I was connecting my ass to your toilet. You don't believe me? I would do it. I would. I've done it in every room in my hotel. I'll do it on every airplane in that airport.
In every room of the hotel you work at.
That I did. Did I not tell you this? I said this a few times on the podcast. That's what the first one was about.
It's like marking your fucking territory like a fucking like cat or a dog.
I made it a mission all winter. I was like, I need to, and then like if I'd have to go, it'd suck because I'd be like,
where's Robbie? I think he's in another
I'd be on the ground floor and I'd be waiting on the elevator. I'm like, I really have to go to the bathroom. They're like, the bathroom's right over there. Why don't you just use them? I have to go into 1104. 1104 is the room I need to go into.
Like, Robbie, we already stocked the fucking towels and sheets in there. You're just like, no, man, I gotta
There's
go
a guest in there. I'm like, fucking tell them to get out. I'd knock on it. Did you guys did you guys need towels? Yeah, let me go get my husband. And as they would turn around, I just walk in. There was a nice man at the door. Where'd he go? I think he's using our bathroom.
Holy shit.
I tell them, like, look, I have, like, you know how most people, like, they travel across the world or across the country and they have a map that they highlight when they go in there? That was me with the rooms in the toilet.
I can
This
see
one's done.
It's like like you've seen Indiana Jones, right? Like when the airplane's flying across the map, it's got like the red dot. It's like it's like the hotel blueprint of you fucking the footprints going to fucking room to room.
It's like the Harry Potter map where you look and you see the footprints.
The Mortars map. I think that's what it's called.
Where's Robbie at? Let's check.
And right, like it has your name with your footsteps, and it shows you bathroom. And I'm like, I wonder where Robbie is right now. 1102's bathroom. Why is he on 1024's bathroom now? What?
I love it when our hotel's fire alarm goes off so much.
Does that? No, hey, yeah. Does that happen? Like, do people like fucking pull like fire alarms?
I haven't seen people pull them, but every time, like, so the only room in our hotel on each floor, it's the 9th suite. So anyone like 1009, 409, 209, like all those 101 that has a 9 in it, not 19, it only goes up to 18. So the 9 is it has a stove in there. So a motherfucker cooks breakfast. Every time fire alarm goes off. Every single time they cook. Yeah, and it's right outside the door too. So the next thing you know, elevators stop working, everything stops working. People got to use the stairs. Everyone's freaking out. I'm just sitting there by the elevator, and they're like, "The elevator doesn't work. We have to get out of here. It's a fire." I'm like, "I've worked here for 3 years. It's the same shit every time. Some asshole is cooking bacon."
And then there's going to be that one time, right, that fucking sets the curtains on fire.
And I will die because I will sit playing Dragon City on my phone until the end of my days.
I don't know what that is, but Dragon City?
Yeah, I actually, yeah, it's an awesome game. I probably spent hundreds of dollars on.
It's
for your phone. And it's
there's not too many games. I just don't have time. I've been playing like Clash Royale. I'm actually a leader, man. I'm actually a leader of a clan in Clash Royale. So like I'm in charge of
You're the leader of a clan?
I am. Yeah, Clash Royale game. It was actually my brother's
of a clan.
Yes, not the fucking clan you're thinking of.
You have to establish that to people that are listening.
You stupid motherfucker. A fucking video game app game. Like, yeah. Like I can kick people out of the clan and promote people.
I podcasted with his name's Kurt. he was on one of my first season, and he's talking about his son being addicted to video games, and he was in the Walmart with them. They were getting, it was around Halloween time, they were getting white sheets to dress up as like ghosts and stuff. And he goes, "Dad, can we hurry up? I need to go meet with my clan," and set it in the grocery store.
And he's got the white sheets.
And he's like,
shit.
"Oh my God," he doesn't, because he's a young kid, so he's not aware of what that is. And a woman stopped him and looked at him. He's like, "Not that clan, not that clan." Like, I was explaining it in a grocery store. I was like, "Yo, that could have been a Me Too movement or some shit." Right?
Well, it's fun, and that's the funny thing, dude. Speaking of that, like the English language, we have so many like words and phrases that like mean that are the same that mean like so many different things. Like, yeah, like you're right. You're saying, "Hey, I'm just gonna do my clan, get with my clan." Well, wait a minute. Like, yeah, there's like video game clans and this and that. Like, that doesn't mean
and
like
the fact I
right.
say something and you know exactly what that word means, and it doesn't mean anything else.
See,
like if I say poop, you think of shit.
Yeah, that's the first word that popped in my head.
Exactly, but it also is really weird because if I say poop, it has many instances where that could be used. Like I went to go poop. I also said, or I like something bad happened. Oh, poop, like that.
Yeah.
It's so many different things now. That's why I heard this from Flea for the Red Hot Chili Peppers, the bass player.
Yeah, love Flea.
Someone asked him like because he wore socks on his their cocks when they went out on stage.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He goes, "Wearing a sock on a penis. What do you think?" And Flea goes, "Stop right there. You're already discrediting your penis." He goes, "What do you mean?" He goes, "It's a cock." When I was a little boy and I looked at my thing, I didn't want to call it like a penis. I wanted to call it a cock. You want a cock. That's what it is. It's more manlier. I was like, that's so weird how words can have such like deeper layers to it, depending on how like you say them or depending on like what tone you give it.
Absolutely. It totally means, speaking of Red Hot Chili Peppers, I saw them in concert in the 90s. It was actually the tour with Dave Navarro when Dave Navarro joined the band. And, it's funny, dude, the concert I went to, Flea was out there naked and he just had like a sock over his dick. And that was it. He played the whole show like that.
Yeah, he did that. He did that a lot.
He did a lot. Yeah.
It's about freeing yourself when you play something too,
And what's awesome about Flea? He's one of like the best bass players like of all time. Like Geddy Lee, Flea, self-taught. He's never had any lessons.
Yeah, he's very, very good, and so is Chad Smith too.
Oh yeah, great drummer.
Yeah,
great drummer. Yeah, Anthony Kiedis. Like I said, that whole band. It's funny, man. It's actually one of the very first rock CDs I ever owned was Blood Sugar Sex Magic.
That's the one that's in my CD player in my car right now.
It's awesome.
Every time I get into
good album.
Every time I get into the car, all I hear is Funky Monks. Bow now, bow, 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 now.
Oh yeah.
And I'm too lazy to change it out, so every time it just keeps pissing me off at like 6 o'clock in the morning when I go into work. I'm like, I've heard enough of the Blood Sugar Sex Magic. I want to take a break from the Blood Sugar Sex Magic and go to Sounds of the Ocean with Neil deGrasse Tyson, please.
There you go.
We should make a freaking sleep thing for people, like a
dude. You know what's funny about that? Like I think I heard you talking to another podcast about like you just have to like hear something when dude, I'm the same way. So like I have like an air, it's like an air purifier where it just kind of catches all the dust in the air, but like, it's like, shh, you can kind of hear it. Yeah, man. Like I need to hear that to go to sleep.
I think I just realized what is actually bothering me when I do sleep. When my Xbox, like Netflix, stops, it says, "Are you still watching?"
Yeah.
And then it shuts off, and my TV just is it's like a gray screen until like you put something in.
Yeah, not so smart, huh? Smart TV.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it'll shut off.
Yeah,
like eventually, like a sleep timer type thing. But that whole time, I started noticing when my room was completely silent, all I was hearing was a in the background. I'm like, that was fucking keeping me up. Like that's why I could never get sleep, and I'd wake up and just turn the Xbox back on, put Netflix back on, and then conk right back out.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy on how like what different sounds kind of kind of like help you like sleep. It's crazy because I was never like that when I was younger. I couldn't have any sounds. Like I had to it had to be like completely silent for me to go to sleep. But like as I'm older, like I need like a background sound to go to sleep. It's just very, very strange. But I like calming but like I said, as I get older, even like with music, right? So I listen to a lot of rock music and this and that. And as I got older, man, like I listen to all kinds of music. Dude, I went through like some EMD. I think I was telling you, like when I dive into something, I really like dive into it. So like I was just like, okay, let me check out this EMD stuff that everybody's talking about. And like I dove into it. Dude, I listened to like EMD music for like 2 months. That's all I listened to. And I was just like, okay. So, now I got like, kind of like an appreciation for some EMD music, and this is something I probably would have never listened to ever, but I was just like, well, let me listen to it. And it's the same thing like with that, man, like classical music or just really like jazz. Like, dude, like jazz music is just so like relaxing and it just like relaxes like your soul, right? And I'm a firm believer in like music is like mood. It's all about like mood music, and like different music is like for different moods, dude. Like when you're feeling bummed out and this and that, dude, there's music for like when you're in like that mood, there's music to listen to for that mood, right? Or there's music to try to get you out of that mood. Like me, like I'm going to come back to Star Wars, but Star Wars music, it's John Williams, dude. It's all orchestra music. I can pop in John Williams and it will just completely relax me.
Goldmember shows that in a lot in its movie. He goes, "Sir, Mr. Quincy Jones," and then it's him doing the orchestra, and it's him like dancing in the rain and stuff. And it's
Yeah.
like it's perfect. I need to hook you up with the one podcast I had, "Music Is Power" podcast by Danila, or not Danila. What's his name? Oh God, I don't want to forget his name. No, this doesn't happen to me.
That is right now, my friend.
I remember every conversation too, and the number they were on. He was like one.
Ooh,
Shit,
okay. So what was
I
the
need to get
number of the
sleep.
last 2 podcasts I was on?
The last 2 podcasts you were on, you were
Come on.
137 on one of them.
And
137, I wanna say 140. Actually, there were 137, and then there was one that was 142.5 because it was a .5 episode.
the second one you did at a point. I want to say it was 145.
This will be a
but
point one too, because I always like I said, new episodes are new people, but also when I have people back on, it's a .5 or
so am I going to be 0.6 since this is our third one trilogy?
you'll be a point. Actually, you'll have the own name. We just got to think of a new name for the episode.
Yeah. So I'm just curious, right? So when we do our fourth one, so we do it'll be like 0.7, like
No,
0.8,
it'll still be. It doesn't go up. It just goes 0.5 again.
0.5.
Because that's like you'll be. So this will be 169.5, and then it'll be 170 tomorrow.
Because you'll have like a new person.
Yeah. So it's like but it'll still have like a funky name to it too. Like if you look on any of my episodes, they have like a funky, weird name to it, and that's usually because I have friends over again to do another podcast.
I just want you to put my face on some ridiculous Star Wars thing like you always do, and have that as the picture. I think that's awesome. No, seriously, look, because everybody because I see all the pictures, right? Everybody's like smiling, or it's like a picture of just them, right? And it's like, and I'm just like, man, I was like, for us, it's just like my face. It's like both of our face on like a Star Wars like thing, which I think is cool. But
that's
yeah,
like my Instagram. Like everyone puts their glorified photos up there. Like on the podcast Instagram, just like send me a picture, and it's like it's average everyday people too. Sometimes even taking selfies in their bathroom. Like they're average everyday folks. People. They're not everyone's extraordinary in their own ways. They're not like some person that's like I had to go and send them a questionnaire and wait years and years and years for them to finally answer.
So you mean these questions you sent me to prep me for today?
I need to go back to my gum story. This fucking gum story, dude. All right, so the fruit gum I was talking about. Okay, so I ended up, they were so big, like the size of golf balls, to the point where I figured out how to spend 50 cents and get 8 of them in one thing. Because I would turn the machine, and when you kind of twist the knob after you put the quarters in, the thing was so big, it would stop the door. So if I did it fast enough, I could get a shit ton of them. So I got like 8 of them one time. And I'm sitting there and I had all of them. I mean, my mouth could not close from all of it. And my buddy's like, it's like 1:00 in the morning. And he's like, I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'll be back. and we're watching a movie. So I paused it, and I'm sitting in his little rocking gaming chair. And I go back, and I was like, I'm tired, so I'm like barely kind of just like rocking in there. And I go back, and the freaking gum goes. I mean, but stops because it's too big to go down my throat.
It gets caught in your throat.
Like I just laid there like that, just too lazy to get up, so it looked like I was like choking and dying. So I was just laying there with the gum in my mouth, kind of like whatever. And he walks around from the bathroom and freaks the hell out, like leaps over the couch, grabs me, and he's like, I'm like, whoa, 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 like it woke me up. Like I was like half asleep. I was like, dude, are you okay? I'm like, I'm fine. He goes, I thought you died. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes,
oh, shit.
You understand if I went and took a shit and instead of a piss or something, and that gum would have went down your throat, you'd be dead right now. I'm like, yeah, but I'm fine. He goes, you're gonna stop eating that gum. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm really not.
You know what I love about all of your stories? I don't know if you know this. It's probably because I listen to you a lot. All of your stories always starts with this. Yeah, your stories always start with, it's like 1 a.m, 2 a.m. when this happens. Like
I don't sleep.
It's like at 1 a.m.
I don't sleep. Everything happens. That's when the strange shit happens. It's like where I have all these strange stories is because nothing good happens after like 1 a.m.
You're never like, well, at like 3:45 p.m. in the afternoon, I ran into Joe Smith. And no, it's like, at like 1 a.m. I was at the gym and this motherfucker, he was like lifting weights like right next to me, man.
Right in my breathing space. I was like, sir, you need a breath mint or a tombstone pizza.
Not that tombstone, this tombstone.
Dude, but those are those are the big thick crust ones too, right?
No, they're like regular. They're like thin crust.
That must be.
Now, dude, they make like thick crust and rising crust. They make everything now.
My buddy at like 1 o'clock in the morning will pull out these freaking pizzas, dude, and we would watch Netflix, and these were these thick cut pizzas. I'm like, dude, sometimes you just would need one of those things. I hate the little thin square ones, like the really small ones. My family loves those things, and they'd always get it for like a birthday or something of one of us, and I'm like, no, I don't want that.
We have one over here, a pizza place called Pizza King. And it's like really thin and like it's cut in squares and stuff, but it's really greasy. So I love it. Yeah, love it. I just love pizza in general, man. I eat a lot of pizza, just FYI. So not any kind, just cheese. I'm not a vegetarian, but I only like cheese pizza.
Do you cut it up or do you just fold it like a taco and eat it?
Yeah, no, I have pizza cutter, man, and you're thinking I'm crazy. Sometimes I cut it in squares, and then sometimes I cut it in triangles.
Yeah, we just decided that that's how we cut pizza too, because I guess it gets more slices out of it. Like it's
so it feels like you're eating more, but you're not.
You cut a peanut butter sandwich, and it's like you can cut it straight down the middle, or you can cut it diagonal, and I have no clue how to do it. I'm like, is life just different? Everybody wipes differently. Everybody does all these things differently. I don't understand.
Everybody wipes differently.
We do. You got to listen to my podcast with Nick Carter, man. That one went all over the place, and it was so much fun. We talked about that for sure.
Holy shit.
You don't just bring up airplane toilets, and then you don't just talk about how everyone in this world wipes differently. And is the only reason why I would want immortality is just because now I have that fact in my brain, and it is probably would want to extend my life now. But 26 is still good. 26.
Yeah, it's funny, man. You talk about just thinking about life and immortality and stuff like that. It's just like, right, I'm going to be 42. And right, I think on the past couple times we've talked, I told you, man, like I kind of changed the way, I exercise, I take care of my body better. I watch what I eat. I don't drink soda. I try not to eat a lot of junk anymore. And, it's just, it's like one day, I was actually just sitting there and I thought to myself, I could be halfway through my life right now.
You could be at the end of your life right now. That's for everybody.
No, I know, but you know what I mean? Like if I do get to live like a full life and nothing freakish, right, happens, or I don't get in a car, right? If everything goes out, if my life plays out normally and I don't get like any kind of accident or nothing, and I live to old age, like I said, I thought to myself, I could have already lived over half of my lifespan, or I could be at halfway through my life and, to try to prolong my life. So even if I can add 1 or 2 more years, I think I need to start changing how I do. And everybody gets older and says that, but like, it's cliche, but like, when you get older, you think differently. And like I said, you do think about things differently. And you're just like, man, if I can do something right now at 40, that's going to help me live to 90. I need to start doing it now.
That's how my great grandfather was when my great grandma passed away. He was like, he just like, can't be any longer now. Trust me. I'm 94 years old. Trust me. It's not, I ain't making it to 104. And then like, next thing you know, like he was doing shit. Like he bought a brand new car, drove to Rhode Island. Then friggin' not even a month later, he passed away. But it was like, it was so weird. His mentality like got changed, like 6 months before, like when she was kind of going downhill. He was just like, shit, 94 years old, it's a miracle I get out of bed in the morning. He didn't take it to like how most people are like, oh, that means you're going to make every life a perfect moment. He goes, nah, I'm going to fucking do what I want. If I want KFC right now, we're going KFC.
Go get KFC.
Doctor's like, no, you can't have that. It's bad for your cholesterol. You want to
Yeah.
extend your life. He's like, I'm 94 years old. I look like a goblin. Fuck it.
Well, that makes sense. Like at that age, right, to do that. But what kills me and what's ironic in life is like people that like smoke cigarettes their whole life, like can outlive somebody who's never like smoked cigarettes before, right? It's like not like just ironic things like that is what like really baffles me about, like you said, like we're just like bags of blood and water and organs and stuff. And it's like crazy how some people can do all this shit to their body and they outlive people that like keep their body pure.
They got that
That's crazy.
Cockroach DNA.
It's and no, seriously, it all comes down to like your family's DNA. That's what's crazy about like our like being human is a lot of our organs and teeth, everything is passed down from our family's DNA, generation to generation to generation.
Sometimes it matches up and you get a Brad Pitt, and then sometimes it doesn't. And
yeah,
and get those people.
And you get Sloth from Goonies, right?
Yeah.
Hey, you guys. It's a great movie.
Well, Lando, it's been epic, and it's been an amazing conversation. Sure. We're going on 2 hours. So
okay, always. And I feel
Spotify
like we just started.
is going to fucking...
So yeah, man. So, hey, definitely there's going to have to be part 4. So there you go. So,
that's why I said we're not even doing like up to part 3. We're just gonna make like the Star Wars movies they keep making. It's like it's DJ Khaled of podcasts, another one. But
the saga continues.
Exactly. Right? I just gotta think of a funny name for this one. I wonder what I'll pick.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't know because it could be
Gumball Strikes Back.
Right. There's like Return of the Jedi, the return of Lando. Return of Lando and Robbie talking for 2 hours.
I'm gonna call it Gumball Strikes Back.
Just because it started with the gum and it's gonna end with the gum.
It's a powerful device, and at one point, it was banned.
Yeah.